I've got some serious concerns about the Pixel 9a. Now, it's basically the launch is imminent. I mean, it could come out at some time today after this video comes out, but I believe that it's going to come out on the 19th. At least that's what's reported. And here's the big concern that I have. It has to do with the RAM. And from everything I'm seeing, it looks like there's only going to be 8 gigabytes of RAM. If you check a look at, or take a look at GSM Arena, it says 8 gigabytes of RAM. If you take a look at some of the preliminary reviews, because apparently the cat's out of the bag. I mean, we've seen what it looks like. We've seen everything. There's actually one thing I'm really excited about. There's one thing I'm really excited about. One thing I'm really concerned about. And which one do you want to hear first? You want the good news? You want the bad news? Good news, bad news, good news. To it. Sound off in the comment section. Leave a comment whether you picked good news or bad news. So I like good news. So we'll go with good news first. And it reminds me of whenever I first got enlisted in the military. And I'll tell you a story about that. Maybe you'll enjoy it. But anyway, the good news is what I'm most excited about is we're getting a purple color. I absolutely love purple. I'm a giant sucker. I just went and spent like $600 buying that stupid iPad Air with the new M3 chip in it and all that crazy stuff. And it's purple. You know, I like purple stuff. Got a purple case for my iPhone. I like all things purple. So I'm excited about that. And of course, it's going to have the Tensor 4. That's going to be nice. Looks like it's going to be just over 5,000, right at 5,000 milliamp battery. Gorilla Glass 3. Looks like it's probably going to have finally IP68. So there's some nice things to be excited about other than it being purple. But it looks like it's probably going to be about $500, which for me is a no-go. It's too expensive. But the bad news, the thing I'm really concerned about is it looks like it's only going to have 8 gigabytes of RAM. And what lesson did we learn last year with the Pixel 8? That 8 gigs is not enough. Now, it's just enough, but it's not quite enough. And we ran into problems with the Gemini Nano model. So Google's first AI model that's designed to be on the phone, it could not run it properly because it didn't have enough RAM. It couldn't do all the calculations, the parameters, the long AI model, all that stuff. It just couldn't handle it. So it's one of those things where when it came to some of the AI features, they were not running as they were intended to. It was not giving the quality experience that they wanted to. I bashed Google for that. It was something that it was bad. They shouldn't have done that. And my hope is that moving into the future, as we get better and better with these AI models, maybe they can make them smaller. Maybe they can make them where they use less RAM. But it's going to be hard. And that's one of the things that pushed the RAM. We now have 16 gigs of RAM in the Pro models, and we got the 12 gigs of RAM in the Pixel 9. So I think going to 8 gigabytes of RAM is an absolutely foolish and stupid mistake because the phone's already $500. Like the phone's already $500. But the thing is, when it comes to RAM, it's so cheap. It's so cheap. And this is one of the areas where we've been getting ripped off by phone manufacturers for so long because it only costs them probably a couple extra bucks for the extra storage. Like if they go, it comes at 128, they put 256, they charge us 100. That extra storage option, maybe it costs them $2. Like putting extra storage in there with the chips, you see it when you go to the store. You can go get an SD card. You can get like a 32 gig SD card for like $15. You get a 64 for like 20. You know, they're really not that much more expensive when it comes to putting in the storage space or in the RAM. So if we know that there's already a degraded quality experience in the AI model stuff that's done on the phone, and they had to make it where you could only use it in the developer settings because you got to push it that way because it's not the experience they intended, then why would they do this with the 9A? Right, they're firing on all cylinders, doing great stuff with Android 15, already well into the Android 16 beta, doing great things with Gemini, and very soon in the near future, Gemini is going to replace Google Assistant, and they're licensing out their AI features to different companies. They're working really well with Samsung. Like they're just doing so many good things. It just feels so incredibly short-sighted to put 8 gigabytes of RAM in the A series phone because it accomplishes nothing. You want to get these phones out into people's hands. You want to prove that you're the best when it comes to AI. You want to prove that you're finally doing everything the right way with the software, the hardware. You've got this great cohesive experience. You're just doing all sorts of good things. And then you want to put 8 gigabytes of RAM in this phone. It's just such an arbitrary and I think short-sighted, foolish decision because it's going to run into issues. It just is. Android requires more RAM. And we run into this problem when it came with the iPhone. One of the reasons why iPhone 16 series phones, they've got 8 gigabytes of RAM now. Apple would have never given you 8 gigabytes of RAM. They would have charged you for that stuff, but they have to because that's the bare minimum you need to be able to run these AI models, all this AI stuff. And you could say, oh, I don't care about AI. I don't care about AI. And most people don't. Most people really don't care about AI, but the companies do. And it's a big selling point. Gemini is a big selling point. Gemini Nano, all the stuff that you're starting to do on the phone, and all these AI features that people are starting to love and appreciate and starting to experience. They're growing, they're developing, and it's some cool stuff. Well, if you're going to have a degraded experience, we've already experienced this last year. The Pixel 8 series already got lambasted last year. It already forced them to move the RAM up in the Pixel 9 to 12, and we got 16 in the Pros. They should have put 12. Even if they put 10, like even if they put 10, that would have been okay. I know that's a really weird number, but I mean, there could have been a way that they could have got around this. I mean, I think that the 12 gigs of RAM is more important than IP68. Put IP67 again. I mean, you're already only putting Gorilla Glass 3 in there. Get some Panda Glass like nothing phone, or get some Dragon Glass, or there are things that they could compromise on that wouldn't compromise the experience. And the experience is key. Like the experience when it comes to the Google phones and the Tensor is key. And they already nailed it with the Tensor 4. The Tensor 4 is such a good chip. Like the Tensor 4 has been a really good chip. It's really increased the signal strength. It's really increased the performance on the modem. It's really helped out with the battery life. It's helped out with the heat issues. Like the big three issues we've had problems with, they got that stuff addressed. They're firing on all cylinders with the Android 15 updates. We've got our 2 quarterly feature drops under our belt. Those have been great. We've got the licensing stuff going on. Like Google's doing good things. Google is doing really good things with the Pixel platform, and so many people love the phones. And the Pixel 9 Pro XL, I said it was the best phone of 2024. I'm really looking forward to the Pixel 10 series phones when they come out later on this year. I'm looking forward to Android 16. I'm looking forward to see what the first Tensor chip made by TSMC instead of Samsung looks like. But this, I think, will cause problems. And a lot of people like the A series phones, and I don't like them at $500. And I know I'm always kind of one of those naysayers. I'm like, look, don't spend $500 on this phone. I mean, they've had such amazing good deals on the Pro. They've had such amazing good deals on the 9, the Pro XL. Shoot, yesterday morning they had the Pro XL on sale for a brief window for $699. If you know that if you can get a Pixel 9 Pro on sale at some point for $699, or if you can get a Pixel 9 for $599, or if you can get a Pixel 9 Pro, if you can get those for around $500-600, why would you even look at an A series? Especially when you know the A series is going to be like $399 in a couple of months. So yeah, I'm not crazy about the price, and this rant's going off in the wrong direction. But yes, 8 gigs of RAM, terrible, terrible, terrible decision. Especially Google knows this. Google knows this intimately. So anyway, talking about good news and bad news, I've got a story. So when I joined the military, I was 17 years old, and I joined before 9/11. I enlisted in July, in last week of July 2001, and then we got 9/11 happened before I had a basic training date. So everything was crazy. Everything was crazy, crazy, crazy. The base was locked down. Everything was in FPCon or Delta or DEFCON Delta, whatever they called it back then. And life was in chaos. And I kept calling every week. They're like, hey, check on this every week. Call us once a week, and we'll see if we got an update on the basic training date. But after 1 week went by, 2 weeks went by, 3 weeks went by, they're like, okay, quit calling us. We'll call you whenever we have an update. But it was in September then, and they're like, it's probably gonna be like January. And I'm like, shoot, I signed up to serve my country. I signed up before 9/11. I wasn't somebody, and not putting anyone down. This is just saying, I didn't, out of patriotic need or necessity or whatever, we were attacked. I didn't go out there and sign up after that. I signed up in peacetime before that happened because I wanted to be in the military. It's what I wanted to do. I'm like 50th generation military. It's just what my family does. So I wanted to go sign up. I signed up when I was 17, and then it was funny. I remember this day because it was October the 1st. My girlfriend at the time's birthday was the next day. And at this time, I was mowing lawns. I mowed lawns to pay for my junior college. Like, I graduated when I was 15. I was homeschooled. I graduated when I was 15. Never went to public school. First day of junior college, community college, I was 15. And then I was 16 the next day because Martin Luther King Jr. fell the day between my birthday and that. But at least I can say I started college at 15. I went for 3 semesters, and then I enlisted. Well, I was mowing lawns on the morning of October the 1st, and I get a phone call from my recruiter at like 8:30 in the morning. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, well, we've got some good news and some bad news, just like I talked about at the beginning of the video. And I'm like, all right, well, what's the good news? Like, well, we got you a school date. I'm like, sweet. When is the school date? Then she comes back, can you leave tomorrow? Tomorrow. So I had to be at the base at 4:30 the next morning to get ready to be taken to the airport to fly out to San Antonio for basic training. We're talking it's 8 something in the morning. So 20 hours notice. I went, got on a plane, and I went to basic training. And I felt really bad because my girlfriend's birthday was the next day. We already had plans to go out to dinner that night. So I get to break the news to her the day before her birthday that I'm leaving on her birthday to go to basic training. And my mom wasn't particularly happy at the time either that I was leaving on such short notice. But anyway, yeah, good news, bad news. It's always something interesting. It's always life changing, right? Maybe I'll tell you some of the other stories later because I've got some other interesting stories, like how I ended up on my first deployment with like 4 days notice. So that was another one. But anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed the story. Hopefully y'all are looking forward to the new Pixel phone stuff. If you got any questions, comments, of course, go to the comments section. I'll do my best to get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, of course, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you guys next time.